ESPN Radio. This is the Burdick Ford and Burdick Toyota pregame show.
That it is. Back with you, Brian Higgins with you on this Thanksgiving Eve. For those on CUSE Sports Talk, we've got mood lighting for the pregame show tonight. Glad to have you in. Let's set the table for this evening. CUSE and Cornell. Phone lines open if you'd like to chime in over the course of the next 45 minutes. We got a slightly slimmer pregame show tonight. Countdown to crunch time with Lucas Favali ahead of the Syracuse Crunch and Hershey Bears coming up at 6:45 tonight. Syracuse and Cornell on the basketball court at 7, a game you can listen to on TK 99 and on our AM airwaves, ESPN 1200. So all of that is good to go for the day today. So looking forward to the game tonight, Syracuse and Cornell, the most played game of all of Syracuse's basketball opponents. A few more games between the Orange and Cornell historically than Colgate, the two most played series that they have on their schedule. So what do we got cooking here? We'll hear from John Jakes, first-year Cornell head coach, longtime assistant there under Brian Earl, who's since moved on to old Bill and Mary, the new head coach at William and Mary. Jakes, who was a player there on their Sweet 16 team back about 15 years ago now, and they made the Sweet 16 through the Dome, has risen through the coaching ranks, and now has the head coaching job. He joined Orange Nation earlier today, so we'll get you that coming up in 15 minutes or so. We'll start to get you ready for this game, CUSE and Cornell. Can the Orange get back on track? Coming off 2 losses down in New York. And what are we? A Chance Westry second-by-second update. Is he breathing? Is he standing? Is he kneeling? What is Chance Westry doing today? And where are the Orange at? They're 3-2. They've got the 3 tight wins at home to start over the lesser teams. They've got the 2 tight losses in the Barclays Center over the better teams, where I thought Syracuse did a lot of things better the last 2 games. Finally showed a little bit of spunk, effort, guile, whatever, on the defensive end of the court, interest, awareness, any of that on defense the other day. But as I think we're starting to see, this team, it's 5 games. The hope is it's small sample size. And that's really all you have to live on right now is hope, because this is not necessarily something that you actually get better at during the season. It's something where maybe you can have a cold spell, but either you're a good shooting team or you're not. So the Orange have to hope they're just in a bit of a slump and they're going to shake out of it. Because Syracuse has been a dreadful shooting team so far this year through 5 games. They've been under 30% from 3, 4 of 5 games. They've been under 70% from the line in 4 of 5 games. And, the sample size is starting to get large enough where, we keep hearing it's a good shooting team. In practice this or over here that. But, as games keep adding and adding and adding, the more the proof gets in the pudding here. And I don't know where to go. It's not like guys magically get better as shooters during seasons. That is rare. But can you find a combination of guys that you can put out on the court in some way to get better in that aspect going forward? Do you see more Chapel Moore or whatever it is to find some more shooting on the court? Can JJ, who's been playing great, up his shooting percentage? Chris Bell has to up his shooting percentage from the outside. That is one thing we know that he is in a little bit of a slump. We literally have seen that before. We've got the receipts on that one. How is that going to come in around it? But Syracuse went down there to Barclays last week. We're getting just drubbed by Texas, came back, took the lead. Interesting game. Couldn't make free throws. Couple of plays down the stretch, and it got away. Night 2, it's Texas Tech. And, close game, and just kind of slips away as time went along. But Red saw his team, that was better when they left, even though they lost 2 games, than they were when they got to Brooklyn.
As a coach, coming down here, playing against this type of competition, I think we got better. I think especially on the defensive side of the basketball, I thought, we really showed some leaps and bounds and improvements in what we can be. And we got to continue to build on that. It's a long season, and we're going to work tirelessly to get everything else figured out. I think.
So a little red from last week. And I think the main thing that we saw, and it was 2 losses. I've changed my concern now. My main concern now is shooting. It's still twofold. The other main concern on this team was defense. The defense in the first 3 games, albeit wins, was dreadful. It was not good. The defense in the next 2 games, Texas and Texas Tech, albeit losses, was better.
We held these 2 teams that are really good shooting teams, pretty much, in some around in the 70s, and then that was a big sign. I mean, that was a big progress. So I think on the defensive side, our guys have seen that they can do it. All right, and I think they understand, and they've worked really hard. So I think the progress that we've made is definitely on the defensive side of things.
That is where the progress has been, yes. Where the progress needs to be next is on the offensive side. And on the offensive side, further away from the basket, particularly around they draw a line on the court, and when you stand behind it, you get more points when you shoot.
I thought we got good shots. I really did. I mean, I think, the shots that we're getting, are good shots, corner threes in transition, off the drive and kick, off the, catching the ball and, looking down. I thought we got good looks, again. They just, the ball is not going in. We're getting the ball to the right guys, and sometimes we may miss them here and there, but for the most part, these guys, I think all Chris looks were good. I think also sometimes he's not ready to shoot them. He has to be ready. He pump faked on a couple. I thought he could have got off. We started the game. We got him some good looks. But I think the other guys got to make their shots too. Again, like the rest of the guys, not to say that they got to make 3 or 4, but they got to be able to knock 1 or 2 down. And those guys are just not doing that consistently. The rest of the guys got to be able to make 1 or 2. That'll help us a lot. And that's just not happening right now.
And the question is, okay, the rest of the guys, who are going to be the rest of those guys? Well, we know JJ's going to play. It would be nice if he'd up his shooting from the outside, but the dude's scoring like 22 points a game. So let's look elsewhere. Chris Bell, obviously, is the main 3-point shooter. Yeah, he's not been as quick on the trigger as last year. You got to think that's going to come around. You certainly know it's available to come around because we've seen it already. Lucas Taylor's shot has looked atrocious this year. He shot 35% from 3 last year. Can that click in at some point here this season? I don't know. Choppa Moore clearly can shoot. He was a great shooter in high school. He's a freshman. He's a defensive liability at this point. He's a high-energy spark plug. I think there's a lot to like there. It's a freshman situation. There's a lot not to know there. Can he be a guy? Donnie Freeman, we know, can shoot it outside. I don't think it's his main strength right now. Jair Davis and Eddie Lampkin, you'd rather not. So you look at this group, and if Chance Westry, if and when he ever plays, I don't think he's really a 3-point threat necessarily. And then you get to Jaquan Carlos, the starting point guard for the team right now, though J.J. Starling has definitely been playing more and more minutes at that spot on the court. Here is red on all of the conversation going around Jaquan right now.
I'm not sure if people understood why we brung JC in. All right, we brung JC in to get other people the ball. All right, we wasn't bringing him in to be a big-time scorer. Now, does he have to make some shots? Yeah, he does. He has to make some shots, but the biggest thing is that we're not making shots. His impact is being able to get JJ the ball in the right places and trying to get the ball down into Eddie and Chris. That was why we brung him here. And he's not, doing it as impactfully as we would like. And so, I'm not going to just give up on him 4 or 5 games into the season. All right, he's a good player. All right, we got to play better. We haven't played better to our abilities yet. But I think he's a guy that needs to get people the ball. When he gets a shot, he needs to be able to make the shots. He has been making the shots. He's got people the ball, but we haven't been able to finish or convert when he has. And he has to play better. We have to play better.
Yeah, you don't get an assist if you pass somebody the ball and they miss the shot. So there is that side of it. But, yeah, I don't know. Like J.J. Starling clearly has one of the guard spots on lockdown. How is the other guard spot going to be comprised effectively for the rest of the season? I think it's a significant question of importance here for the Orange here in the next few games to just figure out how you want to attack that rotation. If you find consistency in it, if it's figure out the hot hand every game, whatever it's going to be, it's important. And then there's the boogeyman involved in all of this. There's the Loch Ness Monster. There's Bigfoot. There's the Sasquatch. There's the abominable snowman. There is Chance Westry.
And as far as Chance, everyone wants to know about Chance. Chance hasn't played in 2 years. He just got cleared. Do you know how long it takes you to get in game shape? Right? And he's working to get in game shape. All right? I'm just not going to throw him out there and he's not ready to play or impact the team. All right, and he can, and I think when he gets there, he'll get there, and I think that's, hopefully, fingers crossed, soon. All right, he adds some depth to us and stuff like that, but I don't know what we're gonna get when he comes back and plays. Nobody does. Nobody knows what we're gonna get. He doesn't even know. Again, but he's battled hard, and I'm proud of his the way he's attacked his rehab, and his spirits are good, and he's just trying to get into shape right now, and that's what we want. He has to clear a couple of checkpoints before he can play. All right, is he available? We've got our 7-minute game right now. Yeah, he can run up and down maybe for 2 minutes, maybe a minute, but he can't. He's not ready to play right now, and he wants to be ready to play. He wants to be out there ready to play and make an impact, not just be out there. So we're working towards that.
All right, that was right after the game Friday night down at Barclays against Texas Tech. Anyone think Chance is playing tonight after that? That was 6 days ago. Probably not. Man, this guy is turning into one of the biggest mysteries wrapped inside enigmas inside of a riddle in the history of Syracuse basketball. And there it's not a small group. Where art thou, Winfred Walton? It's not a small group in Syracuse basketball history. Where's Deshaun Wright at? There are plenty of names from the past. We could go on and we could do this exercise all day of just naming random names from the past that never quite worked out. I don't know what the deal is with Chance. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. They didn't leave the light on at Motel 8, whatever the commercial is. 6, whatever. I don't know. Will Chance play tonight? My guess is no. Is he the answer to all the world's problems? I have no idea. Everything I heard when he was healthy last year is this guy can really go. But that's everything I heard. It's nothing I've ever seen. My eyes don't know what to think about Chance Westry because my eyes have never seen him actually play basketball. Maybe one of these times. Maybe he can be like Billy Edelin rising midway through the season that year when Syracuse won the title and immediately becoming like, well, this guy's pretty good at basketball. Look at this dude here. This guy can go. Maybe. I don't know if the odds are trending that way, but something to keep an eye out for tonight? Probably not. But sometime, maybe. Who knows? With that, we'll take a break. If you'd like to join in, phone lines open and available. 315-437-7644. We'll hear from Cornell's head coach. He is John Jakes, was on Orange Nation earlier today as well. We're back after this on our Burdick pregame coverage here on CUSE Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Yeah, he's got to be king of the mountain, right, Dan? He was supposedly like the realest of deals. Remember Mike Jones? That guy was a freak athlete. Deshaun Wright could really play. Just fun to say Winfred Walton every now and again to see if anyone's paying attention. Jones was hype, Pat, but the dude was an athlete. I don't know how good of a ball player he was, but he could jump to the moon. He did some athletic crap in practice that I saw. Did Baisley sign a letter of intent, Dan? I don't remember. I don't remember the order. I think so. I don't remember the order of operations on that. Yeah, because the if I'm remembering right, like the skip in the draft thing didn't happen until like we didn't learn that. Like he would have signed his letter in November. We didn't learn about the other stuff till when, like February, March, something like that. What's crazy is like now that would stink, but now that's just like, well, that's what happens. Back then, it was like one of the first ones of those to happen. It was like, what the hell? Winfred Walton. It's a great name. Like, that is a basketball star's name. It's kind of amazing how many Syracuse big-time recruits, Owens, Coleman, Pearl, Mello, Wallace, Flynn, like, did live up to the hype. Louis and Bowie. Say Bam had a pretty good hit rate on his stars, I'd guess. Man, that team was, yeah, that would have been wild. Yeah, a Sherm, yeah. Everyone buckets. Oh, the Mook. The Mook was a character, man. As I remember, it was Red's first year, like his first game. Mook comes out for the second half, and he doesn't warm up. He just sits down at the table, and Red's going over to yell at him. And Hop just walks over. He's like, don't worry about it. It's like, don't bother. Yeah, the Heimer could recruit back in the day now.
Show.
Already rolling along here on this Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. I declared this earlier. We need more Eves. Just going to start calling the day before everything Eve. I think it really heightens, adds. Happy Cornell, Syracuse Day, Thanksgiving Eve night, whatever the heck we got going on here. Getting you ready for CUSE and Cornell tonight with our pregame coverage. If you'd like to chime in, you can at 315-437-7644. But right now, let's take a looky-loo. If you're on CUSE Sports Talk, a listen in. If you're on the radio on ESPN here in the CUSE, too. Cornell's new head coach. He was a great player, great shooter. Oh, he could shoot it back in the day. John Jakes, he was on that Cornell Sweet 16 team that went through the Dome back in 2010. Longtime assistant coach there after he graduated. Brian Earl just moved on to William & Mary after many years. And recently, like very successful years after I think it was during COVID, actually. They got the idea. They had been playing kind of like Ivy League, slow, back-cutting, classic Ivy League basketball. During COVID, the way they were forced to practice, they just got into like pace, space, tempo, flying all over the lot, and they've stuck with it. And because they've stuck with it, they play high-octane, up-tempo, and they're a really exciting team to watch. So with that, here is John Jakes, Cornell's head coach, who was on with Stephen Pauly earlier today.
So let's start with where you guys are right now. 4-2 on the season. You beat a Samford team that was in the NCAA tournament last year. You beat an Iona team that was in the NCAA tournament last year. Kind of bring us up to date on these first 6 games and what you've liked about your team and maybe some things you need to work on.
Yeah, I mean, we're like everyone this time of year. I think we're a work in progress. We've, like you mentioned, we've had some really good moments, which is exciting and encouraging, and for any team, and especially I think ones with a new head coach and guys in new roles. You're just trying to figure out who you are. I'm fortunate that we return a lot of players who had success last year, and so our staff knew we could lean on certain guys, and that's been great. And we're fortunate to have a few players who are used to winning, which is always helpful for coaches. And then the rest of the guys, many of whom played a bit last year but are in new, bigger roles. And that's sort of where we are, like trying to figure out, who's going to be able to do what, and what our team needs to do to win, and what we need to avoid to not lose, and all that stuff. So I'm encouraged for sure by the first 6 games, and you sort of expect to be a little inconsistent this time of year, but definitely going in the right direction.
You just brought up guys in new roles, even though that, they're guys who have played in your program or guys with experience. And we're seeing this all around the country, Coach, where, whether it's, high major programs or, mid majors, everybody, it's a process, right? No matter how much you practice in the preseason, there is that process of trying to figure things out in games, correct? I mean, can you speak to that a little bit about, when you expect, the team to start hitting its stride? Because it does take a few weeks, maybe even a couple months in some cases, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's nothing that can replace or simulate a real game, right? And so in the Ivy League, we don't get a summer like everyone else does, and you get a couple months of workouts and practices, and you get 2 scrimmages, and then you're just thrown in the fire. And so, you don't know how guys will react to being in, real competition with some there's no other word for it, like stress, like, hard situations, and how they play together. And we're fortunate in our league, I don't think we're as affected by the transfer portal as many other conferences. And so there is some continuity, and guys are used to playing together in a system and all that. So we have that working for us, but still there's, you can't expect it to be a finished product in November. And so, as a coaching staff, we just talk about, like you said, the process, and having a vision for it, and making sure everyone is aligned and working towards something.
What's this experience been like for you? Obviously played at Cornell, and then you were on the staff there for many years, and you take over now as head coach. Being in charge at your alma mater. What does this mean to you? What's this been like for you?
It's been a lot of fun. Since April when I got hired, and the whole spring and summer, that was cool. It was like a honeymoon period, and everyone's excited, and like it was great. And now, I'm not thinking about that as much as just trying to prepare for games and get these guys better and put them in the right positions to succeed. But still, when I do have a few moments here and there, it is cool to reflect, and it's an incredible feeling for sure, and to do it with a group of guys like this, it makes it more special. It's a similar group in terms of their chemistry and closeness to when I played. That's what made us really good. We were very close, and that obviously has a lot to do with success on the court. So yeah, I'm just grateful and enjoying every moment, and also trying to do my best to stay present and prepare for these games that keep one after the other. There's no real rest in the non-conference, especially because played Iona Monday, and shotgun preparation for Syracuse, and that's what it's about. It's a lot of fun.
And for people who haven't seen you play yet, it's a fun brand of basketball. It's up and down. You score a lot of points. You shoot a lot of threes. I mean, you made 13 threes the other night against Iona. Can you speak to, I guess, your style of play and where that comes from, for you and your philosophy, I guess, as a head coach?
Sure. I mean, I honestly can't take too much credit at all for the style of play. So I'm sure you guys know. So Brian Earl was our head coach the last eight years. And, during COVID, when we weren't having a season, he sort of went in the lab and hunkered down and, came up with a system that fit our personnel and, could be good for us here at Cornell. And so obviously from there, as a staff, we kind of tinkered with it for a few years and we've had success. And so, this year, we haven't changed too much, honestly. I mean, our personnel is a little different, who we're featuring, and we lost some guys from last year's team that were very good in the system. So like I mentioned before, we're still trying to figure it out. But regardless of the personnel, I think for me, it's going to be about, effort and unselfishness. And that goes hand in hand with how we play. You have to play very, very hard to do this, play the fastest tempo in the country and press the whole game. So if you're not playing hard with like ultimate effort and exertion, then you're going to stick out for us. And so that's kind of a non-negotiable. And then the unselfishness that goes with how we play and sharing it and getting good shots. And so, I don't know if we'll be playing at the fastest pace in the country forever, like after this year, but this year it fits for us. And no matter what, I just want our guys to go hard, leave no doubt, that we want it pretty badly and just play for each other, be very unselfish people on the court.
You mentioned a moment ago that you played Iona on Monday, and now it's been a quick turnaround, obviously, to get ready for Syracuse. In your preparation for this game, Coach, what stands out to you about the Orange? What concerns you about this team?
Yeah, I mean, they're talented, clearly. Have a lot of really talented players who can make shots and hurt you in different ways. I think... obviously Starling is off to a great start this year, and he's a problem. The way he's shooting the ball and how aggressive and confident he is. And then if you have Lampkin inside, he's just obviously a presence, and he makes you game plan for him. And he's a very good passer for how big he is, right? So it's those two, that inside-out combination, and they have some really talented young guys around them, clearly. So it's we're gonna have our work cut out for us, and we'll put our best foot forward tonight for sure.
In looking at SU's start to the season, I'm sure you well know they had those 3 close games against non-conference opponents, against Lemoyne and Colgate and Youngstown State. Is there anything you can take from those games, from how the opponent approached it, and apply to your style of play? And I guess if you could kind of lay out, the expectation for you guys tonight, and how this is a 1 or 2 possession game with 5 minutes to go, and give yourselves a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean we're. That's a hope. If we're going to be in the game, it's because we're playing, our brand of basketball and taking really good shots, and making sure Syracuse is shooting the shots that we want them to shoot, which is easier said than done. I think in just my experience playing Syracuse and over the years as a player and as a coach now, no matter what the team is, it's a game where you want to avoid those runs where you commit a live ball turnover and they get a couple dunks in transition or a couple made threes, and then it was a 1 or 2 possession game, kind of stretches out quickly. So for us, it's just being smart on both ends, and so hopefully you can minimize those stretches where it's kind of a momentum shift and the game changes. So for me, that's important. Just if we can avoid those stretches, hopefully we'll be in good shape.
All right, John Jakes, first-year head coach at Cornell, joined Orange Nation earlier today for a chat with Steve. Time now for This Day in SU Basketball History. Brought to you by the Shep Family Funeral Home. Celebrate your loved ones with help from Shep. Visit shepfamily.com. A little series history. It's the most played series in Syracuse basketball history. The Orange have won 97, lost 31. They've not lost in 43 tries. Last Cornell win in the series was December of 1968, so it's been a minute. But it's been close. Close-ish, anyway, the last 5 years. 4 of the last 5 games have been decided by 15 or less, but a few in double digits, or single digits. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Pace and space, run and gun, the whole deal here. There's a little danger element tonight, especially Syracuse's defense. If they take a step back from what we saw down in New York, If Eddie Lampkin, with the tempo of the game, gets played off the court, like there's some potential issues tonight. You could go the other way. Eddie Lampkin could play them off the court by just bully balling them inside. So we'll kind of see how it all goes tonight. Should be interesting as Syracuse and Cornell tip off roundabouts 1/2 an hour from now. With that, we'll step aside for a few. Come back with our final thoughts. Remember, countdown to crunch time coming up in 15 minutes here as we're back after this on CUSE Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
From opening night to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, don't miss a second of the NFL
man,
this season.
somebody's coming up with a lot of money to build all these arenas.
Join our crew each week for the best in primetime NFL
They just
action.
spent like way
Monday
more than
night,
$100
Sunday
million
night, and
on the
Thursday
dome
night
roof
football,
to not
plus
do
marquee
those
games
things.
on Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, and more. Westwood One is the exclusive
Also,
radio
building a
home for every
25,000 seat
primetime and
basketball
postseason
stadium would
game.
mean you went.
It's right here.
You just
If
built
there's
the
football on
biggest
the field,
basketball arena in
we
the country.
have football on the air. The home of the NFL. ESPN 97.7
The
and
commercials.
100.
Oh my God, we're on a roll. We're doing Paulie. There's plenty of space up on South Campus if you want room for stuff. Like, there's plenty of room. Which would then also put you near 481 or the new 81. But someone got to pay for all that. The ghost of Polly. Ooh. Yeah, just some muffins, D. Hayes. Like a few solid muffin baskets. We'll get this all taken care of. It was like north of 120 million, Jen, if I'm remembering right. It was a lot of money. You got to figure, like, realistically, any new, like, ground up arena, you're starting at 500 million. And now you want to build two of them? All right. $1 billion. Let's go. As long as you continue to enhance the dome, I always thought they should have done this. When, like, they cleared out the crane from in front, when Walt left, they should have built a big-ass building there and attached it to the dome, sort of like they just did on the back. But you could have made more locker room space. Like, I know this would have cost money, but more locker room space, more storage space, and you could have added another area like they did with the Myron Victory thing that's on the front side of the dome. That's like a connective entryway with foods and TVs and whatnot. And it would have been like a new face to the dome. It would have extended. It would have given you enough locker rooms for all of the NCAAs and football playoffs and all the crap you do there. Would have made it so you wouldn't have to be changing locker rooms between football and lacrosse and basketball. Yeah, Dan, I mean, I have always heard the story that, like, back in the day, whenever back in the day was, like, they had money tucked away to build an indoor practice facility, like, in the 90s. And then, you know, didn't spend it, and then, like, Buzz Shaw took it to do whatever when he became chancellor. But they were being fiscally prudent instead of aggressive in 1995. If you had an indoor practice facility in 1996, you would have been so far ahead of the game. Yeah, and it was all flattened out, Kev. You could have built a giant-ass building there with basically where the crane was as the foundation. All right, last few minutes with you here on a Wednesday night. Getting you ready for CUSE and Cornell. It's coming up in about 25 minutes from the Dome tonight. All right, just general programming updates so you know what's going on here. This will be the only game all year, only one all year that we don't have a full post-game show for. But we're not leaving you in the lurch. After the game's over, get on the CUSE Sports Talk Twitter, or X, as the kids are calling it these days. I stopped changing the names of things back in my day. Anyway, get on the old Twitter after the game. Our intrepid Jordan will be at the game tonight, and he'll go live. So live on the Twitter after the game. He'll bring you Reds post-game press conference after the game. He'll deliver you coverage from the players in the locker room after the game. It is the place to be after the basketball game tonight. CUSE Sports Talk on the Twitter, on the X tonight, and Jordan will get you covered on all of those things later on this evening. And then we get to Tennessee next Tuesday. Yeah, full go, full send. Pre-games, every game rest of the year. Post-games, every game rest of the year. Basketball season. Let's go. I'll be with you pre and post for Tennessee on Tuesday. We have our holiday party on Tuesday. It could get wacky. It's like a nooner holiday party, and then we're going into the show and into pregame and into postgame. Who knows what's going to be going on by postgame on Tuesday night? Ho, ho, ho! Let me tell you. Secret Santa. I don't know what's going to be going on by then. That's a story for another day. On the radio tonight, we just have a few more minutes left with you. Crunch Hockey coming up. We'll get you out to Lucas Vivalli. Countdown to crunch time for the Crunch and the Hershey Bears is coming up in less than 10 minutes. But we got CUSE and Cornell here tonight. Will we see Chance Westry? Probably not. I think we're going to see some more really good J.J. Starling. I think J.J. has now realized, and the team has now realized, that J.J. needs to do that all the time. That he needs to be the accelerator down, go to the hoop guy to get this offense going. So I think we see more of that tonight. I got him for 25. Eddie Lampkin tonight is going to be fascinating. Eddie on the back-to-back with the back injury, back stiffness, whatever he had going against Texas Tech. We saw it. He was not effective on the offensive end. He did his best. He just couldn't move. He just couldn't move right. All right, is he back to whatever is normal for him tonight? And multiply that with Cornell and their tempo they like to play. How does that intersect with what Eddie Lampkin does tonight? Ooh, hang on. Wait a minute. Hang on. This just in from courtside. Randomly speaking exactly to what I was just talking about. Our intrepid reporter, one Paul Sibilia, has just texted me that Jair Davis is starting, Eddie Lampkin not in the layup line. Well, there's an answer for that. So, according to one Paulie Sibilia, Jair Davis is getting his first start at Syracuse tonight. And no Eddie Lampkin, it looks like. We know Eddie's been bothered by the back and the whole thing, so, okay. Was Paulie listening to the show? He shouldn't have been. He should be working on the other show right now. That was creepy timing. Like, we were literally, like my phone went zzz, and I said, I should look at that. Like, my spidey sense was like, normally you're like, well, don't look at your phone. We're professionals. We're doing a show here. I said, no, I will look at my phone. And good thing I did. Paulie, Breaking news, Jair Davis starting. No Eddie Lampkin tonight. All right, so that is something to watch, which means that this stands out even more. I think we get a big Donnie Freeman game tonight. Clearly, minutes are available. If Eddie is not starting or playing, we'll see what happens. Athletic, Donnie, yes. Way bigger than Cornell, yes. Give me 18 and 10 for Donnie tonight. Game's going to get up and down. Cornell make their threes. I think they make 11. Syracuse can't shoot very well. I think they only make 6, but I think it's a game. I think we'll all be kind of shaking our heads again at the end of it because it's like, uh-oh. But I think we'll all be shaking our heads at the end of it after a win. I got 88-80 CUSE, another one that you put it with Lemoyne and Colgate. And Youngstown State is like, oh boy, what did we just see? But I got the Orange winning tonight. Again, post-game, check out CUSE Sports Talk on the Twitter, on the X. Jordan will get you covered with Red Autry's post-game press conference and all the players. Orange Nation on Friday at noon. I'll be back with you Saturday, 12:30 for football pregame. Countdown to crunch time coming up next right here.
CUSE Sports Talk is your place to